What was that noise?
It sounded like some animal. I don't see anybody.
Well, why should you? That's a deserted house.
Are you finished?
Almost.
I've never been so pushed in all my life.
I wish I was dead. Blubbering won't help nothing, Ma. You get the box, Mary. This is wrong. This is a sin.
Claire, you tell your mom to shut up.
Oh, you shouldn't let your husband talk to me like that. Don didn't say anything. He agrees with everything Carl says.
What's she beefing about now?
She's upset. We're all upset, but she has to be noisy about it.
I'll take these shovels back to the shed where we found them. I'll drive the car over the road and pick you up. Let's get out of here. Now what?
I'm not leaving here till you do what's right and proper. Somebody has to say a prayer.
For him? What could you say that was decent?
Well, say something, Carl. Say anything so we can get going. Yeah, humor.
Well, this is the craziest thing I ever heard of.
Yeah, go ahead, say something. This I gotta hear.
Almighty, we offer into your merciful hands this old drunk who spent his life skinning man and beast out of their last nickel. Just watch out for him is all I gotta say to you. Amen.
That wasn't very nice.
Well, it was a prayer, wasn't it? I wish I'd had the nerve to say what I was thinking. I'll meet you at the road.
Rest in peace.
Not that one.
Stella's home yet? No, the shades are still down like I left him.
Good, everything's working out perfect. Claire, you and Mary get Uncle Joe's stuff out of his bedroom while we get rid of that picnic junk. Flora, you call Stella and find out how much time we got before she gets home. And don't let on like anything's happened, you understand?
I wish Stella had been with us. She didn't know what to do.
I'm the one who knows what to do. Will you get that through your head?
Lay off, Ma, hon. She'll call, all right?
We'll burn the rubbish and bury the cans later.
What about Uncle Joe's wallet and keys? I got them in my pocket.
We'll bury them, too.
But there's $3 in the wallet.
So what, you gonna make thieves out of us for 3 measly bucks? Get that out of there.
The piker.
No, let it ring. Now, make your call to Stella. Maybe she was the one that was phoning. And remember, act like nothing's happened. Just find out when she's coming home.
But, George, your insurance isn't comprehensive enough. Now, I'd like to talk to you,
Stella, what's wrong?
Will you stop grabbing me from behind? I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
Stella! Stella, are you all right?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mother. The phone wire gave me a shock. No, I didn't call.
Oh, well, we just got back from the picnic and the phone was ringing. I was wondering if you'd be home for dinner.
No, we're closing out the summer beach house accounts tonight, and I'm sure we won't finish before 10.
Is that better?
No, don't save anything, Mother. How was the picnic?
Fine. Well, don't work too hard, honey. Goodbye. Stella's working at least till 10.
Swell. Did you get the clothes?
Huh? No.
Can't I depend on nobody around here? What'd you be without me to figure things out?
We'd be a lot happier.
Here are the rest of the closeouts. Every time Labor Day comes around, I wonder why I ever went into business in a beach resort.
Hasn't it dawned on you that you were born here and your father left the business to you?
A lot of things have dawned on me. That's why I'm trying so hard to pull out of here. I wish you'd wake up, too.
It's not a question of waking up. I have to get the family settled before I can leave.
Those leeches. No, I'm not talking about your mother or your sisters. But those two tired characters your sisters married, working 4 months in summer at the beach hotel, then living on unemployment insurance until next summer.
I'd rather not talk about family problems.
All right. Well, what if word comes through tomorrow that Commonwealth Insurance has okayed me for a spot in the home office? I'd have to close this place. Then you'd have to decide about your future one way or another.
I'll decide that when the time comes, if it comes.
Darling, Why don't you make up your mind right now?
Listen, we have work to do, and I won't get home until after 10, as it is.
All right, you can come in late tomorrow.
Fred, stop it. Don't you realize we're standing in front of a plate glass window on Main Street?
We'll be on Main Street this time of year. Lost deer, maybe. You know I love you, darling. I'm not one of those summertime Johnnies on the make.
I don't see any difference. Now, will you stop chasing me and let me get my work done?
Please.
Fred, stop it.
Please.
Fred Anderson, stop it and get your hands off me.
Good evening, folks. Sorry to spoil your fun, friend, but may I come in?
It's after office hours. I said it's after office hours.
So I noticed. But go right ahead, I can wait. When I came in, you had her in that corner over there.
Well, you get out or will I have to throw you out?
I'm afraid you'll have to try throwing me.
Stella, phone the police.
Don't do it, Stella. We'd all feel so silly later. I'm Jeff DiMarco from the Commonwealth Insurance Home Office.
Commonwealth? Why didn't you say so?
Well, you were rather busy, remember? You Fred Anderson?
Junior.
Naturally. And this, of course, is the charming Stella.
Stella Bevins, my secretary. Miss Bevins, Mr. DiMarco.
How do you do, Mr. DeMarco?
Jeff, you must be in great shape. You're not even breathing hard.
Oh, well, may I ask what brings you here, Jeff?
Certainly, Junior.
Fred.
I'm an insurance claims adjuster for Commonwealth. I happen to be on the case nearby, the Thompson case. Do you know it?
Why, that's a $500,000 claim, isn't it?
It was. They settled for $75,000.
75? Oh, great work, Jeff.
Thanks, Junior. Fred. Anyway, I received a wire from the Home Office. They're considering you for a position. Frankly, my job is to get the lowdown on you.
Oh, sure. Anything you want to ask, Jeff, I'll tell.
Well, that isn't quite the way I work. Although I will wind up by checking a few things with you. You know, I'll have to rate you as physically normal after that chase I just saw.
Oh, you see, we're practically engaged. Where do you want to start?
With Stella.
Stella?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to her. About you.
Oh, sure. Oh, look, would you like for me to leave the office for a few minutes?
Oh, I know you're a busy man, friend. I don't want to interrupt your work. Look, I'll take Stella out to dinner. Then I'll come back later and ask you a few questions.
Well, I don't know now. That seems a little unusual.
Pardon me for interrupting, gentlemen, but I have dinner plans of my own. And I won't say anything at dinner, Mr. DeMarco, that I can't say right here.
Whatever you say. I was only trying to give your boyfriend the best possible deal.
Oh, it's all right to go, Stella. You know, we were just going to grab a bite down at the Cove diner.
I promise not to be the least bit offensive. And I'll even let you pick up your own check.
You know how important this is to me, honey.
Well, if the Sheik chooses to lend his harem girl to the visiting Raja, I guess that's it.
Well, I wish you wouldn't put it that way, Stella.
I like it that way.
I thought you would.
Maybe it would be better if you talked to her here, Jeff.
You've already made a deal to trade me for a recommendation. And you want to make an impression as a man of your word, don't you? Shall we go? I'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I'll go home from dinner. You men will want to talk man talk.
See you later, Freddie.
Thanks for dinner. I hope you're satisfied with my answers.
About Fred, yes. I have a pretty good picture of him now. Just between us, I'm going to recommend him for the job. There's only one thing that doesn't fit in the picture.
What's that?
You.
Mr. DeMarco, all evening you've been trying to imply that I'm engaged to a jerk.
Trying to imply.
Well, it's easy to see you consider yourself quite a man. Has it ever occurred to you, Mr. DeMarco, that to some women you may be actually revolting?
Are you speaking for yourself?
I am.
Now, let me speak for myself. I like women, all women. I've never had any trouble with them because I don't take them seriously. Not even you, honey. So you can rest your pretty little head. Good night.
Good night.
And goodbye.
Listen, you conceited... Goodbye!
Here she comes.
Oh, where's my needlework?
I wonder who the guy was.
Shut up. Everybody act relaxed.
Yeah. Don't let her see your jaw. Hi.
Hello, dear.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. You'll have to excuse me. I'm pretty tired. Where's Uncle Joe?
Oh, he went to visit the widow Calhoun.
I could have guessed. Hello. Oh, Mrs. Calhoun. How could they have answered the phone? They were on a picnic. Uncle Joe, isn't it your house? What time did he leave?
He left right after your ma called you, about 7:30.
7:30. Well, why don't you call his favorite bar like you usually do? All right, call them all. Why are you so concerned tonight when you know as well as we do that he's disappeared on binges like this for as long as 10 days? All right, don't tell me, but do you mind if I go to bed? Goodbye. Oh, that woman.
Yeah, she's the character.
While we're on the subject of characters, I trust you and Don are planning to look for jobs tomorrow?
Since when have there been jobs around here after the summer season?
Oh, there are other jobs within driving distance.
The law says we don't have to leave town to look for a job. We can stay right here and draw on our unemployment insurance. I know my rights.
You also know it's not enough to live on without help from me. What about my rights?
Now, Stella, dear, it's too late to argue. You better go get some sleep.
Yeah, we all better. Well, if Uncle Joe happens to show up here, tell him the widow's braying for him. Good night.
How do you like that? We even got Stella alibying for us.
I don't like the way the widow was acting up. She's got a feeling something's wrong.
The only feeling she's got is he in for her boyfriend.
Poor Uncle Joe.
Yeah, well, you women get to bed before this turns into a wake. Don and I got work to do. Come on. Come on.
How about you taking
a turn? What for? You're more than half finished. Hurry up.
You know, it's a crime to bury that stuff. We could get $5 for the suit alone.
Look, I got it all figured out scientific. We bury it all with his wallet and keys.
Who in the devil could that be?
I don't know, but we gotta get back in the house. Look, we can climb from the porch roof through the hall window. Heist me up. Now, take these.
No. Then how am I going to get up?
Hey, Mom, somebody's at the door.
Oh, stay in bed. One of the boys will answer it.
But at this time of night? Oh, it's Chief Clark's car. He's probably bringing Uncle Joe home.
Uncle Joe!
Stay where you are. I'll go down.
No. I'll go wake up the boys.
What is it? What in the world is happening?
It's Chief Clark with Uncle Joe.
But, Mother, it can't be.
Go wake up the boys.
They're all burying the stuff.
Oh, me. Oh.
All right. Just a moment. Hello, Chief. Mrs. Calhoun. But where's Uncle Joe?
That's what we want to know, Stella. With the widow here reporting him missing, it's my duty to start looking.
By what right do you report our uncle missing? All you're doing is getting his name on the chief's records again as a drunk.
What are you all dressed up for?
Don't pretend to me you didn't know what was going to happen. You found out and you tried to stop it. Where is he?
Found out what?
You know what? Joe and me was going to elope tonight.
Elope at your age?
And you know darn well that once we was married, I was going to throw the whole kit and caboodle of you right out of this house. That's why you're trying to keep him from me.
Did any of you know that Uncle Joe was planning to get married tonight?
He didn't say a single word about it.
And maybe for a very good reason. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he had changed his mind, decided to leave town for a while.
And I wouldn't blame him. You see, they're all against me. I knew something was going on here.
Stella, to my mind, your Uncle Joe's out on one of his regular benders, but with the widow raising such a rumpus, we better file a missing persons report. Where are the boys?
Upstairs, asleep.
You better get them down.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hello, Chief.
Hi.
What's all the commotion?
Yeah, it sounds like a bingo game going on down here.
Just want to ask you boys a few questions. Shouldn't we go in the parlor and be more comfortable?
What's this all about?
Mrs. Calhoun claims Uncle Joe was going to marry her tonight. And she's decided we've got him locked in the closet.
That's a pretty good guess. We got him boarded up in his room.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Why don't you look?
All right, I will.
Chief, this is downright silly. The family simply went on a picnic.
Picnic where?
Where anyone goes to get away from the beach, Newcomb State Park. Isn't that right?
Well, you satisfied?
I certainly am not.
Chief, I wasn't even on the picnic, but I can guess what happened the same as you. Practically everybody in town knows that Uncle Joe has one good blue suit, one pair of gray flannels, and a pair of striped slacks.
Check.
I'd say he wore either the gray flannels or the striped slacks to the picnic.
Striped slacks.
And when he got home, changed into his good suit and left. See? The blue suit's gone.
Uh-huh.
Where are the gray flannels?
Didn't you send him to the cleaners, Flora?
Yes, that's right. Last Thursday.
Well, shall we all go over and wake up the cleaner?
No, I've got enough for a report.
But where is he?
Ain't you satisfied you've caused enough trouble waking up me and these folks at all hours? If I knew where Joe was, I wouldn't be making out this report. Sorry I had to bother you folks.
It's all right, Chief. It wasn't your fault.
Bumped into the car door this afternoon.
Well, those things happen.
Look at all these people practically crowding poor Joe out of his own house and home.
I buy the food, Mrs. Calhoun. My mother and the girls do the housekeeping and cooking. What do you do for Uncle Joe?
That's libel.
What's libel? She asked you a question.
I'll wait in your car.
Living alone is bad for women. They get too much time to think. Give me a call when your Uncle Joe shows up.
Sure, Chief.
Good night, folks.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Chief.
I'll be in great shape for work in the morning.
Why don't you sleep late, Stella? I can go and thread in the morning.
No, there's too much work to do. Uncle Joe's best tie and one of his good socks. These are the things he's supposed to be wearing.
Yeah, well, Uncle Joe let me borrow them. I must have dropped them on the way up.
Yeah.
These are Carl's.
The blue suit.
I didn't say he was wearing it. You did.
What happened? Where's Uncle Joe? Mother, tell me the truth.
Nothing happened. He must have left in his gray flannels.
I'm talking to my mother. Mom, you gotta tell me.
It wasn't nobody's fault, Stella. Honest, it
You be
wasn't.
quiet.
If I told Chief Clark a bunch of lies, I have a right to know the truth.
Nobody asked you to tell him nothing. You just took over like you always do.
But why didn't somebody stop me?
Because what you were saying sounded very good.
You might as well tell her, Carl. I'll tell her. Stella, Uncle Joe got to acting mean at the picnic like he always does when he drinks.
And he started picking on Carl. And he challenged him to a fight.
And Carl kept telling him to calm down and mind his own business. But oh no, not Uncle Joe.
Finally, we squared off. I didn't hit him. I never hit him. But he socked me right there.
And then Uncle Joe leaned back to swing a real haymaker, and his heel caught in a root sticking up.
There was a big sharp rock where his head hit. He died without making a sound.
Uncle Joe dead? But this is fantastic.
And who'd ever believe that Carl didn't kill him in the fight?
After all those times he's challenged me in taverns,
They'll have to believe it.
what are you going to do?
Call Chief Clark, of course, and tell him what actually happened.
You can't do that.
But you can't just leave Uncle Joe lying there.
He's covered up. We dug a grave.
And Carl even said a little prayer.
You buried him? Well, you fools!
Stella, it's not the same as if he was really one of us. He was only your ma's brother-in-law.
Hated all of us. Give me that phone.
I was only trying to save your blood relatives from a terrible scandal. Nobody'd believe the truth. We'd all be convicted of perjury.
That's because you
And
forced
poor
him.
Carly might even go to the electric chair for a crime he didn't even do.
I don't care.
It'll only make things worse to call Chief Clark now. He'd never believe it was an accident with the body buried and all of us telling lies before. Even you.
We gotta stick together, Stella.
Anybody double-cross us would be a traitor to our own family. They'll never find him still. Don't call the chief, please. Have pity on your own people. Help me save us all from a terrible disgrace.
This is so crazy. It's a nightmare, and nothing anybody says makes sense.
We're counting on you to keep our secret, Stella. Being dragged into court would kill your own mother.
You hear what your own flesh and blood says?
Yeah, I hear. I still don't know what I should do. Maybe tomorrow I can think clearly.
Good night, Stella.
I think I just saved our necks. I hope.
in, Stella. Should I ask him to come in while you have at least a cup of coffee?
No, I'll get something later. Where are Carl and Don?
They went looking for jobs, even before the sun was up.
They said to be sure and tell you they're really trying this time.
See how nice things are turning out, Stella. You can't spoil everything by sending us all to jail.
I'll talk to all of you later.
Well?
Well, what?
Well, what happened last night?
Oh, you'll get the job, all right.
Hey, what happened? You look like Jeff gave you a bad time.
Thanks. I said you'd get the job, all right. And if you don't stop asking what happened, I'm likely to tell you.
What do you think she's going to do?
She'll string along. The longer she stalls, the deeper she's in.
If you don't go out and look for those jobs after breakfast, I'm going to have Stella turn us all in.
Good morning. Is this a pleasant surprise?
I thought you'd gone back to New York.
Well, it was late and I was tired, and there's a hotel open about 15 miles from here.
Why didn't you drive on from there?
Now, that's an unfriendly question if I ever heard one. The fact is, I was a bit sketchy when I talked to you last night, and I have a few more questions I'd like to ask.
About Fred, naturally.
Who else? You see, Fred, I've taken sort of a liking to you. I want to give you the best possible build-up I can at the home office.
Oh, thanks a lot, Jeff. Let's go inside.
Sorry, Fred, but this will have to be beyond your ears again. Why don't you have some coffee somewhere so Stella and I can hash you over?
You had plenty of time to do that last night, Mr. DiMarco. From now on, you can ask him the questions.
Ask him to tell me what a wonderful fellow he is?
Oh, you'd better let him handle this his way, Stella. I'll go and have coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Take your time, pal. You know, it's rarely that you find a girl that looks good front and back. If you let me through, I'll help you pick those up.
Done. If you have any ethical questions, Mr. DeMarco, I'm ready to answer them.
The first question I'll have to ask myself. And the answer is yes.
I haven't asked what you're talking about, so don't bother telling me.
I didn't sleep last night. I didn't sleep at all. Had a good bed, too.
You couldn't sleep because you were thinking of me, is that it?
Yes.
Can't you just say so?
Did you sleep?
Like a log.
All right, I'll get to the point. I came back because it annoyed me to lose sleep over a woman. I wanted to get a good look at you in broad daylight and nip my insomnia in the bud.
Well?
I'm not going to sleep again tonight. You know, when you consider I live in another state, and if I ever see you again, you're going to be married to another man, that's a very depressing situation.
I find it very pleasant.
No, you don't. What are we going to do about it?
We're going to start talking about Fred, or I'm walking out of this office.
It's too late.
I hope I'm not interrupting, but I just heard about your Uncle Joe.
What have I?
Well, that he's missing. You didn't mention anything to me.
Oh, well, that report was made by Mrs. Calhoun because she claims he was going to marry her last night.
Uncle Joe probably came to his senses at the last minute. I hope you got all the information you needed, Jeff.
Does this Uncle Joe character happen to have any insurance with that company?
Oh, yes. Oh, he disappears regularly on these drunks. He'll show up.
Uncle Joe is insured?
Oh, he's carried insurance for years. Bought it from Dad. It's a $10,000 paid-up life, $20,000 double indemnity.
Well, he's certainly kept it a secret.
Pardon my open mouth, Fred. I hope you don't make a practice of insuring chronic drunks.
Oh, no. I said the policy was sold long before I took over. It's only in the past few years that he's turned out to be such a lush.
Well, gentlemen, excuse me.
Excuse us. He is your uncle, isn't he? Well, I guess I'd better get going. I wish a lot of nice things for the both of you. I'd like to see you in New York. That's where you belong.
I hope you're talking about both of us.
Yes, of course. Good luck, Fred. I'll do all I can.
I'm sure you will.
Hello? Oh, yes, Chief. Oh, this is terrible. We thought he was on one of his usual binges. Yes, Chief, I'll tell her. Oh, what about the boys? They better make the identification. Certainly, Chief. Goodbye.
It's about Uncle Joe?
They found him. I mean, what's left of him a few miles from town.
What's left of him?
He was run over by a freight train.
Oh, but that couldn't be.
Why couldn't it?
Well, I mean, it's too horrible to believe.
This should be just a routine identification, Jeff. Shall I witness it for the company?
No, I can eliminate a lot of red tape by taking over now. I'll be more than willing to do it for Stella. Where's the body?
Well, Tim Gross's undertaking parlor's just 2 blocks south of here.
I'll go with you.
Oh, Stella, the body's in no condition for you to see it. Carl and Don can take care of the identification.
No, I'd better be there. I have to be sure.
The lady obviously has her doubts. I'll bring her back safe and sound.
But we know it can't be him.
Nobody else does, or the chief wouldn't have called us. If we can identify this body, the case is closed and we can forget about the real one. What a break that'd be.
But I don't think that we should.
Now, just keep your mouth shut unless you have to say something.
Well, it's about time you got here. The body's in back.
Stella, what are you doing here? This is no place for a woman.
They have them here all the time. I'm Jeff DiMarco from the Commonwealth Insurance.
Uncle Joe is insured with Commonwealth.
You mean was?
Insured? He never said nothing.
Not a word.
Well, if that poor fellow in back happens to be your Uncle Joe, you stand to collect $20,000 double indemnity.
20,000? Yipe.
I just know it isn't Uncle Joe. I have the strongest feeling.
Well, how can you say that when you haven't even seen the body? Not that I want it to be him any more than you do.
Well, I've seen it, and I say it's him. Are you sure you want to come in, Stella?
Yes.
I'll take care of it.
Boys finally got here, Tim. We're ready.
Brace yourself. This may be tougher than you figured.
Folks, this is what happens when a man tangles with a freight train. There's not much to go on for identification, but the description of the clothes matches. And like I said, it looks like Uncle Joe to me. I'm going to lift this sheet for you to take a look, and if I were you, I'd make my eyes work fast. You ready?
It's him, all right. That's Uncle Joe.
What do you say, Stella?
Well, it looks like him, but...
But what?
Well, all I can say is it looks like him.
In his shape, that's all anybody can say. It's enough for me. How about you, DeMarco?
I'm satisfied as long as they sign the identification papers.
Do you know what this is? It's fate. If they hadn't found that body, we'd have never known about the insurance policy.
Well, the part I don't understand is how can we collect the money when Ma's sister's the whatchamacallit?
Beneficiary.
Oh, it's simple. With her dead and him dead, we get the money. I know my law, and that's the law.
$20,000. I never heard of so much money except on quiz shows.
Well, I think we should all be very fair about this. I think everybody should get an equal share, husbands and wives alike.
But Stella hasn't got any husband, and I'm a widow. I say single people should get the same as married couples.
But why should Carl get only half as much as Stella when he was...
Carl and me did all the digging, and all I know is I ain't
I'm
gonna
in charge
settle for
around
no
here, and
half.
I say it's
Do
equal
you
shares.
actually think you're going to collect that insurance?
Well, why not? We identified the body, sold you halfway, and you heard that stoop from the insurance company say he was satisfied.
But that is the body of someone else who's missing, and other people are looking for him. They may be down at the funeral parlor right now claiming him.
Well, he won't be around long enough to be claimed. We'll give him a quick funeral.
A real fancy funeral. We can afford one now.
Uncle Joe would like that.
Of course he'd like it. He'd like you to do every crazy thing you've done so far, so he could have the pleasure of seeing the whole family either rotting in jail or burning in the electric chair.
Stella's right. Something's gone wrong already.
Will you tell that sister of yours to stop scaring the wits out of her own mother?
Good evening. I trust you're inviting us in.
But I thought you'd gone back to New York.
No, fortunately for you, I decided to do a little more checking. The charming Mrs. Calhoun has been wonderfully cooperative.
It was a pleasure, Mr. DeMarco.
I'd like to speak to the entire family in there, please.
If you wish. Come on.
I don't know some of you. I'm Jeff DeMarco from the Commonwealth Insurance.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. This is my mother. And my sisters, Mrs. Granger, Carl's wife, and Mrs. Carey, Don's.
How do you do? Be seated, please. This is one of those rare instances when an insurance man has good news for everyone, including his company. I'm sure that you'll all be delighted to hear that the body you saw today was not your Uncle Joe.
Oh, of course we're delighted. But how do you know?
You can thank Mrs. Calhoun. She provided the information, and a quick check with your local dentist certified the evidence.
How you people could identify a corpse with a full set of teeth is beyond me. Don't tell me you didn't know Joe's teeth are false.
Now, Mrs. Calhoun, we mustn't make accusations.
Oh, I never had any idea Uncle Joe had false teeth.
Me neither. The man barely ever opened his mouth to us.
You made a perfectly understandable mistake, gentlemen. Please understand, I'm not a detective, although I have been one.
So you were a detective, so what?
Let's not be on edge. As a friend, I suggest that you take a second look at the body and disclaim it. As soon as you do, I can withdraw from the case and forget it.
Are you trying to say we were deliberate liars?
Carl, quiet.
Well, isn't this wonderful? After we were so sure he was dead.
Yeah, this is great news.
Now you won't have to go to all the trouble and bother of collecting that $20,000.
Now, Mrs. Calhoun, I'm sure that Uncle Joe means more to them than mere money.
Oh, does he? Then why did I have to be the one to report him missing? Could it be they know where he is and won't tell? I dare you to tell all you know.
That's enough from you, Mrs. Calhoun, and the rest of you, too. Now that we have this one bit of good news, the least we can do is be thankful and not say anything we'll regret later.
That's very smart advice, Stella. May I drive you home, Miss Calhoun? It's been very nice meeting you all and sharing this wonderful news with you. Now, if only your Uncle Joe could make your happiness complete by walking into this room tonight. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I'd like to speak frankly, Stella.
Go right ahead.
Well, I don't know what happened before I came onto this case, and I don't want to know. That's because of you. I've declared myself off of it now, and I'm going to stay off. If you can keep those characters that married your sisters under control. If they make another mistake, I'll have to come back and do some more checking. Maybe there's nothing. I'd rather not know either way. This is a roundabout way of my saying that I'm wacky about you, Stella. Well, I don't want to cause trouble for you or anybody in your family. Do you understand? All right, Miss Calhoun. Well, I guess this is goodbye. I suppose if I ever see you in New York, you'll be married to Fred.
Probably.
There's your congratulations in case. So long.
Goodbye.
It's criminal, that's what it is. Positively criminal.
What is?
$20,000 right out the window because that corpse has got a mouthful of teeth. We all know Uncle Joe is deader than a mackerel, and it's criminal not to be able to collect.
Carl, will you let this sink into that strange thing you call your mind? You've just missed a trip to the penitentiary and perhaps even the electric chair because DeMarco has been kind enough to accept your identification of the body as a mistake. Now forget about that insurance. All of you. Or you'll find out your corpse is a sleeping bobcat. Do you understand?
Trying to take the bread right out of our mouths. Whose side's she on?
Yeah.
Secured invitations for you and Stella to attend Commonwealth Convention here October 19th. Great chance to meet right people and sense home office job. Please advise, regards, Jeff.
Oh, what a break. Well, this is a chance to meet everyone from the head man on down.
Why am I included?
Don't give me that blank look. Jeff figures he can make a little hay while my back's turned, so we let him figure. But the important thing is it's a great chance to land that job, have a good time, and let Jeff find out later that we're too smart for him.
You have a quaint way of dangling me in front of him. And what if we aren't too smart?
You've lived around summer resorts long enough to know all the angles.
I certainly have. And the first angle is I'm not leaving for New York without a chaperone.
Oh, honey, even with a man who's practically your husband?
Especially with him.
Well, that's the way it has to be. Hey, how about one of your sisters?
We're taking Mother.
That's what I thought.
Cigarette?
No, thanks.
Ah, this is the life. Someday you're going to hear my name read in that list of million-dollar salesmen. Boy, I sure appreciate the chance to meet all these big shots.
Now it looks like you're going to meet the top man.
Hi, Jeff.
Hiya, Peggy. Chief.
When are you going to get around to begging me for that dance?
You'd better give Peggy some attention, Jeff, or she'll be on my neck again, insisting that I fire you.
Oh, Peggy wouldn't do that to me. Folks, I'd like to present Peggy Denny and her father, Ralph Denny, president of Commonwealth.
Oh, this is quite an honor, Mr. Denny. I thought your speech was just wonderful.
Really? Peggy said it stank.
This is Stella Bevins and her mother, Mrs. Bevins. And the gentleman trying to break your hand is Fred Anderson, Jr.
Oh.
He's cute.
Oh, thanks.
Chief, you'll be happy to know that Mrs. Bevins slept all through your speech.
Oh, Mr. DeMarco, what an awful thing to say.
Congratulations, Mrs. Bevins. I wish I could have done the same. Well, you'll excuse us. We're going to pose for a picture with a new $1 million salesman. The only way we can get it in the papers is by sticking Peggy in front of us.
So happy to have met all of you. I'll be back, and you'd better be waiting.
Boy, this is something to write home about. The president of the company.
That's the first president I ever met of anything. Oh, I wish I wasn't so sleepy.
So you're pretty chummy with the old man. Hey, what about that daughter? You latch onto a dish like that, and all you have to worry about is your health and the income tax.
She said you were cute. Why don't you try latching?
Why, you're jealous. Oh, say, what about that other fellow I was supposed to meet, the one that had you check on me?
It's an excellent idea. We excuse us. Save the next dance for me.
No, she will. But why don't you get into the spirit of things and be a little more friendly?
Hello, Mara, Charlie.
Jeff, you're going to ask me to dance?
I have some new blood for you. This is Fred Anderson. Thought he had me check home while I was in Connecticut.
Yes, of course. Well, Jeff turned in quite a report on you.
Thank you.
These are the charming rights. Charlie's chief claims adjuster for Commonwealth.
Sit down. Well, we expect to find room for you in the home office soon, Fred.
Oh, that's just wonderful.
Meanwhile, how'd you like to investigate claims in your territory for us? As a sideline to your regular business.
Oh, I'd be very happy to. But I must say there isn't much happening around a beach resort in winter.
Well, it was that Bevins claim. You could have handled that.
There's it's a lady dying to dance, and you're young and eager. What do you say?
Oh, would you?
Finding a man who can move his legs.
We'll talk out a few of the details later. Have fun and don't let her yak your ear off. Eager beaver type, huh?
We'll probably both end up by working for him. Thanks for the lend to your wife. I have business with his girlfriend.
Hey, wait a minute. Why stick me with him?
Don't worry. He'll grow on you, like a wart. You're not leaving.
I'm sorry, Mother's tired. I'm taking her back to the hotel.
I don't know what makes me so sleepy, except I never stay up this late.
I see you've done very well by Fred. Tell him I'll be back soon.
Oh, you'll be back before he knows you're gone. I'll drive you.
No, thanks. It's only a few blocks.
Now. Be friendly, remember?
Pardon me. I forgot my orders. Thank you.
She all tucked in?
How I envy her.
Well, back to that smoke-filled room. Or would you prefer driving a park?
We have trees at home. Thank you.
Looking at a summer resort seems to make a woman very suspicious.
Not at all. It merely confirms her suspicions. Now what?
I find it easier to talk when I'm not driving.
You were supposed to have taken me back to the party.
I will. That's my apartment. The third one up.
Very attractive. And now that I've seen it, will you please start the car?
Friends say I make the finest cup of coffee to be had in New York.
Jeff DiMarco, if you don't take me back to the hotel, I'm calling a cab.
You got me all wrong, Stella. Come on up and meet Mother.
Why didn't you mention her in the beginning?
Because I enjoy watching it when you don't trust me. Come on. I told Mother all about you. She's very anxious to meet you.
I hope you've also enjoyed making me feel like an idiot.
A little.
She's probably asleep. I'd better leave.
No, she isn't. All right, girl. I want you to meet the whole family at once. Stella, may I present Mother and the kids? Mother, this is the girl I've been telling you about.
You big fake.
Why do you say that?
In the first place, a dog couldn't be named Mother. It's not a mother until you've already named it something else.
You think so? Go ahead. Call her by name.
This is ridiculous.
You don't believe it's her name. Call her.
Mother?
No, not like that. Really, call her like this. Here, Mother. Now it's your turn.
Here, Penelope. I said it, and I'll say it again. You big fake.
That's the darndest thing I ever heard of. Here, Penelope.
Here, Jeff.
Here, Stella.
What is her name?
I'll tell you if you stay for coffee. I'll take you back to the hotel in 20 minutes.
Is that a promise?
Cross my heart. The minute you say let's go, we go.
All right. What's her name?
A friend of mine left her with me and forgot to tell me her name. The next day, she had pups. What would you have named her?
Your mother.
Nice family, aren't we?
Do you know what time it is?
It's exactly 3 minutes after 2.
Is it that late?
Can you give me any believable explanation for your behavior tonight?
Certainly. I did as you told me. I was being friendly. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
You know that Stella and I are engaged.
Calm down, Junior. Stella's rooming you about tonight. I simply took her to my place, introduced her to Mother. We had a long talk about you over coffee.
Are you sure?
If you don't believe me, ask Mother. Good night, pal.
Hey. What about this?
Thanks, Junior. Mother's nearsighted.
Hello, Carl. Bad news again. We found Uncle Joe. This time for sure. On the beach 5 miles south of here. Yep, positive. See you at the funeral parlor.
You know what this is? It's fate again. Fate saw that 20 G's snatched right out of our hands and decided we got a raw deal.
Yeah, but fate is one thing, and that guy DiMarco was...
Hi, fellas.
Hi. That guy DiMarco was something else. The minute we claim this new stiff, he'll be right back here in our tails.
He's not coming back. Fred's handling investigations around here now. And even if he does come back, what's the worst that can happen? We made another little mistake.
What beats me is why Chief Clark thinks everybody finds his Uncle Joe.
Yeah. Well, shut up and put on a sad face.
I guess we're a little early.
Oh, Chief, this is quite a shock. We still kind of hoped.
Everything matches. I mean, what there is left of him. Blue suit, no teeth. And I could tell that face at 50 yards.
Was he just laying on the beach?
Washed ashore, caught between some rocks. I gotta warn you, I've seen prettier sights. Come on.
Boys, you're gonna see him just as they found him. I ain't doing no work until you're sure it's him.
All some people can think of is money. Let me see. Uncle Joe's been missing 7 weeks yesterday. How long would you say this one's been dead?
Could be. Ready for a look?
It's a ringer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's him.
Yeah. That's Uncle Joe, all right. I'll bet my last nickel.
You'd almost expect to hear him start cussing.
Boys, my sincerest sympathy. What price funeral do you want to give him?
The best. Nothing but the best for Uncle Joe.
It'll cost you money to fix him up, the mess he's in. And a high-class service with a metal coffin will run you close to $400.
He said nothing but the best.
How high you want to go is your business. What my business is, where you going to get the money?
Listen, that body's worth $20,000, and you're asking us where we're going to get the money? What do you think we are, pikers? Give him a $500 send-off.
Well, there's one thing about us folks around here. We ain't got much, but we sure take care of our own.
Boys, you're going to get a funeral this town will be talking about for the next 20 years. I'll have Uncle Joe looking so lifelike, it wouldn't surprise me if he sat up and waved goodbye.
There's no finer compliment you could pay a man than a first-rate funeral. Boys, I know you're making Uncle Joe awful happy. Now all you have to do is fill out that insurance claim and make it all come true.
You got a tag on your coat.
Oh, thanks. Come on. You've been dressing since breakfast.
Yeah.
All right. Keep your shirt on.
I wish the funeral was over. That 20,000 isn't safe until the body's 6 feet under.
Oh, you talk like an old lady. If the insurance company was going to squawk, it'd happen for now.
I'm so happy we're finally having a real funeral. This is what Uncle Joe would have liked.
Will you get it through your head it's Uncle Joe we're burying?
I hope I don't break down at the services. I've heard that Mr. Beaker before, and he sure talks a sad funeral.
How do you like us?
Oh, we all look so wonderful. I've never seen us better dressed.
That's what just the smell of money will do. All the credit we want. Think what it'll be when we actually get the cash.
Yeah, but if we lose that money now, we'll be in debt up to our ears.
We're not going to lose it. Now, remember, the way to cry at the funeral is to think it's your own, not Uncle Joe's. That way you can bawl your eyes out.
Works, too. I tried it upstairs.
Let's go.
All I need to cry is anybody's funeral.
Where's Stella?
She went for a walk. She said she'd meet us at the funeral parlor.
What a woman. She even thinks she's too high class to go to her own uncle's funeral with us. Hold the tears till we get there. Come on.
Stella, why are you here today?
I'm waiting here until it's time for the funeral.
But aren't you going with your family? It'll be over soon, dear. I know what you're going through.
I wish you did know. I wish the whole crazy scheme would fall apart so I could quit living this nightmare.
What do you mean?
There's no end to it. Every time a body's found, we'll be claiming and burying it for the rest of our lives.
There's no reason to be so upset, darling. After all, there was only one wrong body claimed. This time, you know it's Uncle Joe.
I know it isn't.
It isn't.
Will you help me, Fred? You're the only one I can talk to, and I've got to tell the truth before it's too late.
You can trust me, Stella. How do you know it isn't Uncle Joe?
Because Uncle Joe was accidentally killed the day of the picnic. Carl and Don buried him there. And now that they found out about the insurance, they're claiming every body that comes along.
They buried him? As long as it was an accident, why didn't they notify Chief Clark?
Why don't they do anything right? Now they're involving Mother and the rest of us to the point that we have to stop them. I'm glad I talked to you. It's wonderful to be able to tell the truth for a change, and I'm going right on doing it. Let's go to Chief Clark before they can get the funeral started.
Oh, wait. I'm afraid it's too late, Stella.
Why do you say that?
I'm only thinking of your family and what might happen if you go to Chief Clark now.
I don't care what happens to me. Anything's better than going on like this.
You wouldn't be the one to suffer. It would be those who were at the picnic, those who were involved in the original conspiracy. Now, I believe you when you say that Uncle Joe's death was accidental, but who else would believe that now? Everything that's been done to conceal the facts since then would convince anyone the death was not accidental. And what will happen if you go to Chief Clark now? Prison sentences for your mother and sisters, and at least one of the boys would be convicted of murder.
But the truth will come out sooner or later.
Will it? The funeral starts in a few minutes. The body's buried. The case is closed. Your family will collect the insurance money. No, which it's entitled to anyway. For the first time, it doesn't have to look to you for support. You're free to live your own life.
But it's wrong. It's wrong to hide the truth.
Of course it is, but do you prefer to have your family in prison for a crime they didn't commit?
Oh, no,
That's your choice. There's one more thing I must say, darling. Now that we're sharing your secret, I really feel close to you for the first time. This is a bond that'll keep us together all through life.
Pardon me. I saw the car outside.
Hello, Jeff. Just passing through?
No, I'm back on the Bevins case. No reflection on your work, Fred. Since I was on it before,
The funeral starts in a few minutes.
I know. Condolences again.
I don't think this is a time for jokes.
If you'll excuse me, I have to be going.
Do you mind if I go along?
But you didn't even know the man.
That isn't usually required of insurance men. Oh, incidentally, the services may start a few minutes late.
Why?
A little matter Fred overlooked as company representative. I took care of it before I came here, so the Home Office will never know the difference.
Oh, what is it?
I ordered the body x-rayed. Quite often you find evidences of old bone fractures that help you make the identification positive.
But Uncle Joe used to boast that he'd never suffered a broken bone in his life.
Well, it's the company's money I'm wasting. And besides, it'll give the Home Office the impression that Fred's really on the job.
Oh, meaning I'm not.
We'll see.
deepest sympathy, Stella. How do you like the decorations?
They're beautiful.
I rented every canary in town.
My friends, there is one comforting thought to carry in your heart on this trying occasion. Let us not say that Joseph Stutz has departed. Let us simply say that he has stepped into the next room. Let us further say that someday we shall join Joseph Stutz in the next room, and that day shall be a day of rejoicing. For then, all the beauteous wonders of the heavenly architecture shall be revealed to us, and we shall know that nothing so breathtakingly magnificent could be on this earth. And our voice shall say to us that our lives have not been lived in vain, and that our toil and our prayers and our tears have not been for naught, because simply by stepping from one room into the next, we have accomplished a journey into everlasting peace and joy. And that, my friends, is what has happened to your beloved Joseph Stutz. And even at this moment, he is wondering why there are those among you who are shedding tears for him, when this should be a moment of great joy for those who wish him well.
I beg your pardon, sir. What you were saying is very appropriate for this announcement. It is a moment of great joy for all who wish Uncle Joe well, because X-rays have revealed old bone fractures, which prove that this couldn't possibly be Uncle Joe.
Chief Clark, how many bodies you gonna let this bunch of buzzards try to bury before you do something? I call on you to arrest the whole pack of them.
You can't slander our good name, you old pie-face. Chief Clark thought this is Uncle Joe, same as we did.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Don't you start dragging me into this mess.
What I want to know, who's going to pay me the $500 I got coming on this corpse? I've got my own good money invested in that box.
You expect us to pay for a guy we don't even
Resist! Friends, be seated. This is a time for thanksgiving, not for name-calling. We will now bow our heads in prayerful rejoicing, with a tender thought for this poor soul, whoever he may be. I said bow your heads.
Oh, this is terrible. I got so worked up for the funeral I can't stop crying.
There's plenty to cry about. For one thing, how are we ever going to pay for these clothes?
Did you hear the undertaker say he was going to bury that man in our coffin and then sue us? The nerve.
All I know is I'm through claiming wrong bodies with that guy DiMarco around. It's a waste of time.
It ain't normal. Ain't human. 20,000 bucks right out the window again. We gotta figure some way to collect that money.
How can we collect when we've already buried the only stiff that would pay off?
Hey, you just said something. Just because a guy's buried doesn't mean he has to stay buried. You really said something.
I did?
You know that spot called Lover's Leap? Well, suppose somebody found Uncle Joe's body at the bottom of it.
But how in the world would he ever get there?
How do you think?
You mean we dig him up?
Dig him, haul him, plant him. Then let that guy DeMarco say that ain't him.
Oh, me, poor Uncle Joe.
This can't be as simple as it sounds.
Every great idea is simple. It'll look exactly as if he fell from the top. Accidental death, double indemnity, 20,000 bucks. Here we come.
Yeah. No!
Oh, come on, get your working clothes on.
if you're afraid I'm going to ask your family a bunch of embarrassing questions, you can relax. I'm willing to concede that the boys made another honest mistake.
Why should I worry about that? I'm just wondering why Fred isn't here yet.
He's probably having trouble getting Chief Clark to sign the mistaken identity report. The chief hates to admit he was wrong.
Are you going back to New York tonight?
I don't know. That all depends on how you feel about things.
How I feel about what things?
This isn't the kind of talk I can address to your back. Would you sit down? Look at me. Stella, ever since I first met you, I've been trying to kid myself into believing that it's great being a bachelor. It was fun before, always new faces, come and go as you please, no responsibilities. But it's surprising how monotonous it turned out to be after you came into my life. If what I'm saying sounds crude, you'll have to forgive me. It's just that all these words are brand new to me.
I think you're doing very well.
Thanks. The next part's even tougher. What I probably should have said in the beginning is that I think that you're the most wonderful and the most desirable woman I've ever known. The least I can do is to ask you to marry me. I know Fred thinks that you're practically Mrs. Anderson already. But you haven't definitely agreed to marry him, have you?
No. No, I haven't. Frankly, I've been waiting for this to happen ever since that night in New York. I mean, I had faith in you, and it was up to you to make it come true.
How do you like that? I was set and didn't know it. Darling, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm going to do my darndest to make it the same for you.
You don't have to try. Just be yourself.
What are we feeling guilty about? I'm going to tell him anyway.
No, let me handle this.
Stupid police chief. He had to read every word before he'd sign.
Fred. Fred, I'm going to marry Jeff.
What am I supposed to do? Congratulate you?
We'd appreciate it.
Stella, I want to talk to you.
I think she's talked enough for today.
Did you hear me, Stella?
Wait in the car, please. I'll be out in a minute.
Look, Fred, putting up an argument is only going to make this tougher on yourself.
Jeff, please, wait in the car. I'm sorry, Fred. All I can say is I like you very much, but I've been in love with Jeff
You're
since
not in love with him. It's a silly infatuation. It hasn't given you a chance to think.
That's not true.
All right. What have you decided to do about that secret of yours that you were so anxious to share with me? Is that what you leave me with? Or are you going to tell him, too?
But you said yourself it was too late to tell the truth. You said they wouldn't believe it. Why should I tell Jeff?
Of course no one will believe the truth. But they will believe that your Uncle Joe was murdered by his own family if I tell them what happened to the body.
You wouldn't tell.
Do you think not? Do you expect me to let you run out on me after getting me mixed up in a shoddy mess that can ruin my whole future? Is that what you think I'm sucker enough to do for you?
But you're the one who stopped me from going to Chief Clark.
I was protecting the family of the woman I was going to marry. I accepted your secret in good faith, despite what might happen to me. Stella, you're all in the world that means anything to me. If you leave me, that world will explode in the faces of every last one of us. Stella, I know what you're thinking of me right now. But someday you'll realize that what I've done is for your own good.
I'm going to have him drive me home. I'll tell him on the way.
You'll never regret this. Why, in 6 months, you'll have forgotten the man ever existed.
You've won your point. Why don't you leave well enough alone?
A little rough, wasn't it?
Please drive me home.
Listen, honey. No matter how hard it hit him, he'll bounce back in a hurry. Men are like that. Now lean back and relax for a couple of minutes. I won't say a word until you're ready. Feel better now?
I should have started talking the moment I got in the car. Jeff, you'll help by remembering what you told me. That even if a man's hit hard by a woman, he bounces back in a hurry.
Meaning what?
I'm sorry, Jeff. I made a mistake. I can't marry you.
Why not?
Well, it's wrong. Isn't it better to realize that now than regret it the rest of our lives?
What happened in the office? What did Fred say?
Fred has nothing to do with this.
I'm supposed to believe that before you talked to him you were going to marry me.
Well, I had a chance to think things over, that's all.
Look, you're talking to a guy who makes his living finding out facts. Did Fred threaten you in some way? Does he know something that might hurt you or your family?
What gives you that idea?
Answer me.
I'm doing what I want to do, and you'll make it easier for both of us by not asking so many questions. Well, I guess I won't be seeing you again.
Wrong guess.
Why do you say that?
I know now you're tangled with a bunch of characters who stand a good chance of messing up your life. If you're not going to fight back, that's your business. But I have a stake in this, too.
What are you going to do?
Now it's your turn to stop asking questions.
Thank goodness he drove away.
Stella looks upset about something.
If she asks about the boys, you tell her they're out looking for jobs. Oh, you're home early, Stella.
Never mind the act. I saw you peeking out the window. DiMarco's burned up, and we're going to be right in the middle of another investigation any minute.
Oh,
we got to get our story straight and stick with it. Where are the boys?
They're out looking for jobs.
Don't try to tell me that. Where are they?
Well, they didn't know there was going to be an investigation, or they never would have gone.
They wouldn't have dared to go there.
Don't tell me they're digging up Uncle Joe.
Well, they're just moving him to a new place where somebody will find him so we can collect the insurance.
Isn't there any end to this insanity? We've got to stop them.
But how can we? They've got the car.
How long ago did they leave?
A half hour, maybe less.
Who are you calling?
Fred. You can tell me how to get there, and I'll have him drive me.
But you can't tell him.
He already knows.
Hello? Oh, yes, Stella. Oh, did you have any trouble with Jeff?
I'm not calling about that. Carl and Don have gone to dig up Uncle Joe.
They what? But why, Stella? Why? Oh, they'll never get away with it.
That isn't all. Jeff got so burned up about me, he started asking questions, and he knows we're trying to hide something.
The only thing we can hope is that he doesn't start looking for the boys before we can stop them. But yes, I know. It's that meadow with a brook in it beyond Newcomb State Park. Oh, what time do they leave? I think there's still time. Look, I'll be right over.
Hi, Chief.
Now what?
I have another hunch on Uncle Joe.
Looks like you can wait till I find another body before you prove it ain't him.
Chief.
Huh?
If a family started for Newcomb State Park, then decided to move on to a quieter spot, a meadow with a brook in it, where might that be?
Ain't no might about it. It'd be right there.
Well, let's go. There should be something happening there tonight.
Like what?
Like Uncle Joe's body being dug up.
Suffering codfish.
How long a drive is it?
An hour and a half, only an hour if I drive.
Well, I'll do the driving. We don't want any more bodies we can use.
That turnoff should be along here. There's a mailbox.
Yeah, there it is.
That gate wasn't here before.
Hey, the lights went on in the farmhouse. And listen to that dog.
Somebody's moved in.
Hey!
What do you think you're trying to do?
Shut up, Hermie. Sorry, mister, we didn't see the gate.
Doggone, don't you know a private road when you see one? That's going to cost you $30.
What do you think you're talking, a couple of millionaires?
We'll send you a check.
Yeah!
Hey, come back down, you dirty crooks!
there goes 20,000 bucks.
Yeah, we're here to dig up Uncle Joe. No half-witted hayseed's gonna stop us. Well, there's the meadow. We'll cut across the grave.
With that hound on the loose?
All you gotta do is be quiet. Get out.
I told you to be quiet.
This must have got jammed when we hit the post. Here, give me a hand.
This doesn't make sense. What are we gonna do with Uncle Joe after we dig him up? Bring him back here to the highway in plain sight?
We'll have him wrapped up in the tarp if we can get to it. I said, give me a hand. Here. You carry the tarp, I'll get the shovels. Where'd you put the shovels?
Where did I put them? Was I supposed to take care of them?
What'd you think we were gonna do, dig him up with our teeth?
Well, we can go home now for sure.
Hey, remember those old shovels we used to bury him? They're in the shed behind the farmhouse. I'll carry the tarps, you go get them.
Oh, no, I'll carry the tarp.
Well, go on, get them. We'll both get the shovels. We'll cut across the meadow. Come on.
Carl, we'll get caught for sure. Let's get this up while we're still out of jail.
You spread them wires for me. Come on, get us through there. Hurry up. Cut your coat. Get your foot out. Hey, he's plowed the field.
Do you think he's plowed up Uncle Joe?
No, he's safe in the brush down by the creek. We'll walk along the edge so don't leave no tracks. Get it. All right. Okay, come on.
I never thought I'd begin to hate money.
This ought to show you what kind of a man Jeff is. Just because he can't marry you, he's trying to throw your whole family in jail.
Simply proves to me both my sisters married idiots. What can we do if they dig up Uncle Joe before we get there? I haven't the faintest idea where they'd take him.
Let's just consider one catastrophe at a time.
You call this safe driving? I've had slower rides in aeroplanes.
You always seem to be going faster in an open car. I'm just barely over 95.
At least the dog's in the house. That's one good break.
Whoever you are, or I'll shoot.
Come on, get up, come on.
This ain't the place.
It is too. There's our car over on the highway.
But there was brush all around here on both sides.
Yeah, and straight across the creek from the grave was a big dead tree where the picnic was.
And now there's nothing.
The darn fool's cleared for planting. All our landmarks are gone.
Well, we have our choice. Dig up the whole field or go home. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Remember how we got on the other side to bury him? There was a crossing made of rocks. Let's find it.
What do we do when we find it?
We're all set. After we buried Uncle Joe, we walked back about 8 paces to this crossing.
Which way?
I'll tell you when we find it. There it is.
Yeah, I remember. Only it seemed further down. Hey, there's another crossing.
Yeah.
And another. There must be a dozen of them. How do we know which one?
We gotta use our instincts. Now, close your eyes and try to remember how the field was. Do you see it?
Yeah, kind of.
All right, now, open your eyes. Where'd you say we crossed?
Third one down from here.
It works. That's the one I picked, too. Now, we'll start from the crossing and go about 8 paces up this way.
No, the other way.
Look, we'll dig where I say. If I'm wrong, then we'll try your spot.
What if we're both wrong?
Shut up while I'm counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll start digging right up there.
Slow down. I think we're coming to the turnoff. This must be it. Wait. Isn't that our car up there parked off the highway?
Yes.
Boy, this is Ernie at the highway. Why do we have to plant him so deep?
It's a lucky thing we did. That plow would have put us out of business.
Look. Let's get out of here.
We'll hide right here. Lie down. Shut up.
Oh!
Can you lower here?
Now we cross till we come to a brook.
Oh!
What are you trying to do, smother me?
Shut up.
They're coming right at us. Stay down.
Oh, here it is.
Where are they?
Carl, Don.
What the devil are you doing here?
I think you'd better answer that question.
What'd Stella tell you?
He knows you're trying to dig up Uncle Joe, and Jeff DiMarco's probably guessed the same thing by now.
Did you blab to him, too?
Listen, if you have an ounce of brains, you'll fill in that hole and get out of here fast.
Why don't you mind your own darn business? Who asked you to go around spying on people?
Carl, please, we're trying to save your own worthless neck.
You think we're gonna quit when I'm within 2 feet of $20,000?
Only 2 feet?
Yeah, and the dirt's soft, too.
Well, Stella, as long as they've gone this far...
Have you gone crazy, too? All you had to do in the beginning was tell the truth and the insurance money was yours. But now you're just digging your way into the electric chair.
Oh, you think it would have been that easy before, huh? Well, who would have believed that I didn't even hit Uncle Joe?
Would they believe me if I told them Uncle Joe took a wild swing at Carl and banged his own head up against a rock?
Of course they would. An autopsy would have confirmed your story, and you had the family as witnesses.
Well, you might as well save your breath. This is a free country, and I got equal rights, same as everybody else. That insurance company owes me $20,000, and I'm gonna dig until I find it. That's right, Carl. Keep digging.
Boys, I'm ashamed of you.
Well, I'm not ashamed of myself. And before I go to the electric chair, I want you all to get this straight. I never killed anybody. I never stole any money. And I never said a bad word about anybody. And for this, you're gonna take my life? What kind of cockeyed justice is this?
Yeah.
Keep digging.
Hey, I found them.
Well, thank you very much.
Chief, I want to give you a rundown.
I have to read this before I sign.
It's how Uncle Joe died, according to your own statement. Sign it.
Chief, you've got to get this straight for the record. I was working undercover for the insurance company on the side of the law. Why, I even got a confession from Stella this afternoon. Didn't I?
Stella, I'm sorry I had to be in on the finish of
You
this.
think you're going to grab the credit? I cracked this case.
You file your report and I'll file mine. If I were you, I'd leave town.
I'm glad you caught us, Jeff, no matter what happens.
Chief Clark speaking.
Yeah, Charlie? It's what? Are you sure? Uh-huh. Yeah. Thanks, Charlie.
Now, for the last time, once and for all, what did you do with Uncle Joe's body?
Why, you sent him to the coroner yourself after we dug him up.
That was the coroner I was just talking to. That thing you dug up wasn't Uncle Joe. It was a female Indian.
Indian? How'd she get there?
So you lied to me again. I've stood by you for enough of this stupidity. From now on, you can figure out your own answers. The only way any of you will ever come to your senses is for me to force you into it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm leaving town as soon as the chief will let me. You boys had better start growing up.
All right, let's have it. Did you kill that Indian, too?
Chief.
Huh?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but according to the legends on your map here, the boys have created a little problem.
What do you mean?
They planted Uncle Joe in an old Indian burial grounds.
Oh, no.
You mean to tell me no matter where we dig, we're going to find somebody?
What am I going to do? I can't waste the taxpayers' money digging up old Indians.
I'd suggest you keep the boys digging until they find the right one.
But that could take years.
Could be. And when you find Uncle Joe, you get fined $10 for illegal burial.
Well, let me tell you, I'm not going to pay $10 and go to the chair, too.
Yeah, it's either one or the other for him.
Who's going to the chair? You got enough witnesses here to beat that rap.
I have?
Yeah.
See, all your trouble was for nothing.
Oh, isn't it wonderful? You're almost free, and you've got what amounts to steady jobs.
Stella, I heard you say you're leaving town.
I am. With you if you still want me.
Want you?
You're a pretty smart guy, aren't you, DeMarco? You say we should keep on digging? Sure, we'll keep on digging. Because when we find Uncle Joe's body, your insurance company is going to have to cough up 20 grand.
It might be. It might also be that since you're already claimed 2 other bodies under oath, you could get a prison sentence for perjury. Interesting thought, isn't it?
You mean no matter what we do, we're hooked?
That's right.
Well, you keep on digging if you want to. I'll take the chair.
Stealing my girl, killing my job. You think you can get by with this?
No. Why start a honeymoon with only one hand?